You're listening to Brigade Radio 1.
Welcome to the Antisocial Show.
Hello everybody, it's Tyson. Welcome to the Antisocial Show, the intro part where if I got something to say, here's where I do it. So this show that you're going to hear is pretty serious in spots because it is the first time conversationally that Hunter and I have ever dealt with the COVID-19 crisis that's occurring right now. Like, it is May 7th right now, 7 de Mayo. I need to put that in context for you because the show we recorded on April 12th in the evening, which April 12th, 2020 this year, as many will remember, was Easter. And it's when the country was supposed to reopen initially. So at 9:10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, CNN had the estimated case count and death count. It's over 500,000 cases just in the United States, with almost 21,000 deaths as of April 12th. So that's the number that I was trying to figure out what it was. And by the way, I might have talked about percentages in this show, and my percentages are off. They're actually higher. But just know that if I didn't take that out, I did get it wrong. And I apologize. I try to keep my information good. I try to correct things when I can. So just real quick, this is something that is happening. So they're going to try to open the country now. It's 3 weeks later, roughly. And here's a little taste of CNN, like literally just a few seconds of what their plan is going like.
With Maryland allowing elective surgeries and certain outdoor activities to resume starting today, at least 44 states will be partially reopened by Sunday. But now the Trump administration is blocking the release of step-by-step CDC guidance meant to help states reopen safely.
You hear what they're saying? They're saying, okay, we're going to reopen, and we're not necessarily adhering to the CDC recommendations. So the death count as of today, as of this particular posting, this is about 6 hours ago my time. It's coming up on 9:30 in the evening here, Pacific Standard Time. The total cases worldwide is 1.23 million. And the deaths are now it says 73,573. So 73,573. That is just in 3 weeks. And by the way, between 3 minutes and 23 seconds of this story and 3 minutes and 35 seconds, the death count jumps to just over 75,000. So the reason why I bring this up is because you can hear some of the urgency in my voice to try and appeal to people being calm at various points in the program and use reason and whatnot. We also talk about movies and stuff. I mean, it's what we do. We like to talk about movies. So, but I wanted to put in context what the world has been like in the last 3 weeks, is just as far as the number of deaths and our approach to this thing. There's been protests. There's been lots of protests with people going out, not doing that socially distancing thing, not putting on masks, getting really close to one another and possibly spreading it to each other. And the thing is like, I'm sure there are lots of you out there who would say, well, who cares? Let them spread it to each other. And you've probably also heard the arguments that it's like, well, no, they're not just spreading it to each other. They're also spreading it to everybody else they come in contact with unknowingly, because this disease is sometimes undetectable for 2 to 3 weeks. And I don't mean undetectable by test. I mean like asymptomatic undetectable. Like you will feel fine. That's why I liken it to air-AIDS at the beginning of the program. Or I say air HIV, and there's a whole thing about the way the virus HIV works and how we didn't know much about it. Like, anyway, you'll hear it in the program. So I wanted to prepare you for that. There's a bit of that. There's a lot of serious talk, and mostly I wanted you to know that unless we do more of these middle shows where shows get stuck between shows on the proper numbers, like show number 80, show number 81, 82, these are all sequentially recorded of each other. Anything that was stuck between was recorded out of sequence. And so some of the content that's coming in the future here for you it's been months. And so it's before coronavirus, COVID-19 was a thing. Sorry, it's certainly before it was the thing it has become. So that's just for context. So, thank you for listening, and be decent to each other. And I hope to see you on the other side of this. Peace.
And here's your hosts, Underblock and Tyson Sater. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Anti-Social Show, the only show that says, don't leave your fizz gigs at home. I am Hunter Block, and he's...
Tyson Sainer.
Outstanding.
Saluton.
Sound effects.
Yeah.
Gotta love it.
Oh, a live crowd.
Live crowd, that's right.
Nice. So, thank you all for coming. It's great that you made it out. I see everybody's got their own personal space bubble that they brought with them, made of plastic. Now that those are on the market, appreciate it. Appreciate you doing that because, as you know, we are still in the throes of recovering from the coronavirus, COVID-19. So I'm happy that those of you who came out to see us are observing the safety protocols because this stuff is like air HIV, you know.
Oh God, yeah, it is, dude. I mean, it's horrible.
It's frightening.
Oh, absolutely, dude. You know, you're almost afraid to if you have to leave your house, you're almost afraid to touch anything. And then, of course, once you do, you know, you're always sanitizing your hands and sanitizing everything else. It's you know. Mm-hmm. So I want to be clear now for the people who don't know when we record these things. They often are from a while ago, and then some of them have been from more recent. And I'll say I'll start saying that as we go. And I say this now with like 8 shows in the archives. So like it is now April 12th, 2020, and I hope that 4 months from now, or whenever you hear this, 4 to 6 months from now, that I didn't correctly predict, you know, the worst case scenario. Well, I figure that's actually a good case scenario that we actually have incorporated into our technology and our lifestyles the need to be ultra cautious if that's what it takes to get us to the point where we can be unafraid of this thing again, because it is terrifying and rightly so. So welcome to the place where you come to escape your fears and your anxieties, our anti-social show. Dude, now, everybody out there, you know, we've been practicing this, okay?
Yes.
Of self-distancing and, of course, isolation for the most part.
Right.
And hence... anti-social show, because we're anti-people. We don't need to go outside at all. Well, however, I will interject this one thing. Mm-hmm. I, unfortunately, am considered essential personnel. I do have to go out for work. But when I'm not at work, I stay home. I've been gaming more, cleaning up the house. I've been doing projects, anything and everything to, you know, occupy myself. But, again, this was never a problem for me. I don't have to go out. It's great. Not the virus thing. That's the sad part.
No, it's, you know, they were saying they were talking about it on Chill Pack Hollywood Hour. Phil Awareness and Dean Haglund. They were saying about the social distancing thing that, you know, they were talking about how their lives have changed, you know, and their routines and whatnot. And Dean kind of made a similar observation that he didn't really go out that much anyway. He's working on a project at home or something, so he's kind of already been social distancing. You know, so he's got, I guess, he didn't say that he had the advantage. Then I would add, well, so he's got a bit of an advantage in that regard. But still, you got to be careful because, like, everybody's got to be careful. Everybody's got to be careful, and not as many people are that should be, and that's terrifying.
Well, we're starting to see a reflection of our lives really happening right now. If you think about this. You and I, right, have been friends for almost 10 years. And, but not only that, though, but this is how we normally communicate. We either communicate, you know, by Facebook, by text messaging, by phone call, or Skype. And certainly we use Skype in the show so we can see what we're doing. And then, of course, now we got the visual for YouTube. But now you're starting to see, like, for example, the WWE. They have their 2 shows, Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown, which is not done in front of a live audience for the past month. There's no sports. Talking Dead. Have you heard of the Talking Dead?
I have.
Okay. So that's always done in front of a live studio audience, and it's always done live on Sundays.
Oh yeah, you're talking about how the TV shows that didn't tape all their episodes before this happened are dealing with the with having to still provide entertainment by not having while not having live audiences. This phenomenon that's occurring. Go ahead. Yes.
This is how the Talking Dead's been doing it. They've been doing it podcast style.
Cool.
Yeah, so you're still getting a show. It's just, it's just the home edition, as they've been calling it. Same thing with Bill Maher. Bill Maher's been doing all of his shows from home. I think there's a radio station out here that's been doing stuff from home as well. So we're living in like a podcasting society now.
That's that's interesting. As you were saying that, I was really coming to the understanding that there's. Oh, by the way, I was talking to Mark Hershon recently for the last episode of Succotash, for episode 200, which is then the hiatus, which is probably already is up by now because I'm literally writing this part today. But we were talking about how just a couple of weeks ago when we taped our chat, the number of podcasts in existence is now around. Would you like to guess?
I probably want to say in the thousands at this point.
Absolutely, it's around 850,000.
Wow.
It's 150,000 short of a million podcast choices out there now.
Whew, that's a lot of competition for our show, dude.
Well, it would be if this was a radio show, but it actually kind of is now, too, because there are actually going to be people who are going to be... The podcast is going to be a way that they get an alternate form of entertainment that they might not have been aware existed. So, there are going to be people coming to podcasts. So
right.
I'm just saying, people who can see me, like Hunter, will be able to see me later when these become videos. We'll see that I'm not taking any glee in this. Like, I'm just predicting this possibility based on a set of circumstances. And this isn't Kreskin stuff, or Criswell. This is just logical connecting dots, and it's dispassionate.
Well,
so I don't want to offend anybody. I'm not suggesting this is a great thing for us. It's just it's like things have changed, like from silent to talkie film, from CB culture to podcast. It's just
what's weird?
Evolution of societal interactions. Yes.
You know what's weird? Maybe it's just me, but before COVID-19, I didn't feel like we were in competition with other podcasters. Certainly not. We've plugged other people's shows on our show plenty of times. So that display right there shows you that there's no competition. But there actually might be some competition now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think of it as competition. People.
Well, not in a formal sense.
Right. But I mean, I don't even like the idea of the word competition in the like it's a TV. Excuse me, hold on, my cable went funky. I was actually, this is another thing I was talking to Mark Hershon about. Like, I hear what you're saying, don't get me wrong. We were talking about how there is an attitude in early podcasting with certain personalities that it was a competition almost the same way that radio programs were. And there is a comedian, Todd Glass, who jokes about that on his podcast, The Todd Glass Show. Where he says that you can listen to the Todd Glass Show. It's on 9 o'clock after Maron, being at what the F with Mark Maron, but before that was actual show. I mean, he's joking in the sense it's a podcast. It's not like a TV lineup where it's where 227 comes on after Amen or A.I.D.S comes on after the Golden Girls. It's not. Right. It's a joke on the idea of destination listening, but so I think there's a lot of people that do feel like that, like they can't talk about the idea that Succotash is a podcast that talks about other podcasts. Succotash says, hey, by the way, if you're here, you've either stumbled upon us by accident, or you're looking for, what's this podcast thing, or you're here because you've come back. But there's a good chance that you're going to hear one of the podcasts that we present to you and decide, well, this is the thing I'm going to listen to now, and then never listen to Succotash again. That's just part of the model of the show. That is an inevitable possibility, and that's not exactly wouldn't necessarily grow an audience unless there's people who only want to hear clips of soundcasts, in which case they would go on podcasts, as many people say. Then Yeah, and so I know it sounds like a plug for Succotash, but I'm just talking about the idea of a person going to listen to a podcast. I think it's a thing that because we evolved into this state, like you and I listening to different podcasts, that there's a bunch of people out there that like never it's never been an option to them or not to this. They've never had the thought that I want to download to something to my now phone or a device or whatever, and listen to a non-radio show that's kind of like a radio show with people sitting around talking, whatever a podcast is, even if it's an entertainment package that's slick and polished and whatnot. The idea that's like audiobooks, I think, helped sort of bring this in a bit, where people are like, oh, I can listen to something for hours now if I want to, and then, it's not news, but and then podcasts are like, who knows what you get, So, yeah, I lost my train of thought on that. Like, I had a point, but
well,
the point is, we're used to it. So it's like when people
yes.
who have only ever played the Atari console with the joystick and the one button, and then you hand them like an Xbox 360 controller, and it's like, okay, well, I got to get used to this now because there used to be a button and a stick, and now there's one stick, two stick, D-pad, 1, 2, 3, 4 buttons, triggers, shoulder buttons, and then a couple of little buttons that are back and forth buttons, and then that one in the center. If it's an Xbox, it has the one in the center. But my point is, it's an adjustment that we don't have to make, but a lot of people still will. Right. So that's going to be a step forward, I think.
That's the thing. Like, you and I don't mind this because this is how we normally communicate anyway.
Sure,
but
yeah, I agree.
You're right. I'm pretty sure that, during this whole pandemic thing, there's been a lot of people that never really listened to podcasts before are now listening to podcasts or communicating in the way that we're doing, right now. So, with that being said, if yes, they're going to adjust to it, but if they want this not to be the norm, I mean, as far as like communication, talking to people, etc., then just stay home. Okay,
right?
Stay home and don't go out. There actually is an immunity to all this, believe it or not. It's called, one, stay home and keep yourself clean. I mean,
yeah.
Sanitize your house. I mean, I did today. I sanitized the hell out of my bathroom. I mean, just to, but that's really what people need to do. And here's another thing, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that people can't leave their house and go get food, because obviously food is essential. You need food for your survival. So yes, absolutely go to the grocery stores and then go away. Go home, okay? And, there's reports in the news that, there's a bunch of silly little miscreants going to the grocery stores and licking, like, the food.
I saw a video of somebody licking.
Please don't do that. Okay, it not only one is disgusting, but it also makes you a piece of crap in this terrible pandemic. But now you're lucky that you have Tyson and I, because we're going to keep your butts entertained through all of this, because we're awesome like that. So
I didn't respond because I was taking a drink of my beverage just then, just so people know.
So aside from cleaning the bathroom, I decided that since we've been doing the show for about 3 years and 6 months, to build a website for the show, which I'm currently doing right now.
Okay, so it's underway, is what you're saying.
Correct.
Okay, because I tried visiting this website earlier tonight and I didn't get anything.
Yeah, it's not up there yet.
So it's not up there yet. Well, I guess might as well tell people what it is, because it will be however long from now, and it will have come up, hopefully, other than on the show, on the way there. But we might as well state what it's supposed to be now, and then I can correct it later if it's not what it is. Like if some unforeseen circumstances, and then...
Oh, it's definitely going to be...
I understand, but who knows what happens? A bolt of lightning and something goes wrong and you got to get a different name, but you've recorded it here, then I will correct it later, is all I'm saying. I, as the editor, will take care of you. So, that's it. That's all. A bolt of lightning.
I think that's like so... dude, I've been... Oh, don't want to yell.
Sorry.
So for the past, I want to say 3 years, I've been keeping track of very funny moments that you do just like that, and that by far was like the most fucking funniest thing like ever, because you're calling yourself like the editor. So in other words, while everybody's staying home, you're the editor.
Yeah.
You're going to take care of them. You're providing them entertainment.
Oh, I'm saying I'll take care of you in the event that like the name of this web site that you're trying to get doesn't get, if it doesn't get published under the name that we state now. And I'm saying just for some freak occurrence, just in case that later I will tell myself in the recording to go back and put in a little, with, a visual for the video version and then a spoken one that I'll record later, because it'll be important to give people accurate information that far in the future, theoretically. I don't know.
Well, should a bolt of lightning strike them? I'm going to blame some of the people in this room.
Oh my God. So the website that's going up is for the Antisocial Show, and this way, we can upload content, keep you guys posted on things that, projects in the future, things like that. If Tyson wants to, post on it, whatever he's, doing. That's the purpose of the Antisocial, the Antisocial website, which you can come contact us on if you want to be on the show as well. So it's going to be anti with a capital A, NTI .social. That's SOCIAL .show and number 1.
And then .com?
Correct.
So let me get it straight. Capital A, NTI dot. Capital S?
Mm-hmm.
Capital SOCIAL dot. Capital S, HOW, and the numeral 1.
Correct.
So show 1 is together. And then .com?
.com, yes.
Okay. All right. Well, it's distinct.
Absolutely. I figured it was about time that this show had, a website. You know what I'm saying? Because this show evolves. I mean, with me, I evolved my equipment, upgraded my equipment, things like that. So I'm always trying to build the show up, take it to the next level. And I thought, a sleek new website will do that. Will put us with all the other awesome, cool podcasts. And I'm doing it and now keep in mind, everybody listening out there, these the website that I'm using to build the website, we have no monetary agreement with them, so this is not an ad. But I'm using Squarespace.
Good. I used Squarespace for www.tysonsinger.com.
Yes.
Where I've got links to Antisocial Show and also my YouTube and Laura's YouTube and my SoundCloud and Antisocial Show on iTunes, and I'm not sure if I got my Tumblr on there. I should consider having my Tumblr feed on there because it would get some new content for people to look at. But yes, yeah. What about Squarespace? I mean, honestly, not a sponsor, but I mean, I was happy with. It's not a pretty website I made, but I haven't put that much work into it. If I started putting more work into it, it would probably look a lot better. I just wanted one place where people could type in my name and a .com, and then all the stuff I've been working from, all the stuff I've been working on over the years could be found in one spot. So instead of going, where is your YouTube channel? Just go to www.tysonsinger.com. I link to my YouTube channel is on the page, and making this easy as I possibly can for you. Short of opening up your computer or your, this is a foldable computer. Something with my hands, people can't see this, but short of doing that and then hitting a button, you can find my stuff with just a web browser. So that's So capital ANTI dot capital SOCIAL dot capital SHOW and the numeral 1 .com COM. By the way. Yes. Yeah. Okay, cool.
It gave me something to do on Easter Sunday. I decided that the show needed a website, so since I'm self-isolating, after I deep cleaned the bathroom, that's when I decided to make the website. So this way, it's an official website for the show. People can go there, check it out. There'll be some cool content always up there. links to the show, things like that, where you can find us on social media. And Tyson has a question, and go.
Oh no, yeah, I was wondering what I was going to ask. What else was going to be on it? Like what's the other reason for people to make this a destination? And I had some ideas about helping with that. I've been putting stuff on Instagram lately. I've been making little videos. That's what I was going to say earlier. I figured out how to upload videos to Instagram.
Perfect.
But wait, thing is it's not like I didn't have to like. It's not like when I was sampling for my album where I would stick an attenuating cable in the earphone out of the TV and then into the microphone into the sound card with my old computer, like where I would sample sound directly off the TV back in 20 years ago. It's not like figuring that out. I figured it out because Instagram made it a function where you can upload with some very specific parameters of file format and length. You can upload very much like YouTube. Minute long to longer to like an hour, so it has to be at least a minute. So I've put up at least a couple of a couple of previews for Tyson Senior Gamer, so I could make some of those things with some of the video clips of our shows, like maybe some of the stuff we were talking about, like we were talking about what the actual address is. I can just cut a little thing out there and post that on Instagram. I don't have very many subscribers on YouTube as of right now. As of right now, the 12th of April 2020, I have 3 more than I had like 6 months ago. I now have 29 subscribers, all of which I'm very grateful to. Very grateful. And I will say I have around 300 people on, somewhere between 300 and 400 people on Instagram that follow me. So that's a bigger chance for people to come across our stuff, because I want people to see it if they want to, and people are going to have to find it by accident a lot of the times. So.
I say this now.
There's a cable in my way.
So the purpose of the website, like I said, all of our ways to contact us will be there. All of Tyson's social media handles, same as myself. And you can contact us, but please don't be crazy, like Annie Wilkes crazy. Nothing like.
Mostly just don't be Annie Wilkes.
One fan.
Yeah.
What happened?
Mostly just don't be Annie Wilkes.
Correct. Don't be crazy. Don't be Annie Wilkes, and then we'll be fine.
But thank you for listening.
Absolutely. So if you want to come on the show, you're more than welcome to at some point in the future once we get past the 8 episodes that's going to span 4 months, which is another thing, by the way. Is that we do have, for everyone out there listening, we do have 8 episodes, which means that we theoretically didn't have to record anything. However, in the spirit of, as the editor would say, entertaining you, I decided to do a very small episode and see if Tyson wanted to jump aboard, and he did, because he's awesome like that. So we are doing our parts to keep you entertained and to keep you home, of course, and safe. You'll thank us later.
Yes, and by the way, don't attack people from China.
Yes.
They didn't. The person that who lives down the street, unless it is actually one of the people who brought it over, did not bring this here. It's every single race of a person on whatever it is on the planet. They are not a monolith. They are not. You do not affect the rest of them by hating on one of them, especially somebody who is innocent, but just anybody. It's ridiculous that people are attacking Chinese Americans, Chinese anybody's right now because of their fear. Actually, it isn't ridiculous because this is the worst part of human nature, and it is not surprising. But honestly, people, rise above it. You can do it. And by the way, if you're listening, you're on the same page, And if you're listening and you're not on the same page, well, thank you for listening. But I mean, you should be on the same page. You really should be, because it's if you don't understand that that there are bunches of different people in the world who like this person over here doesn't actually control this person over here. If you don't understand that, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I'm not going to say anything mean. I'd like to say something like, please leave the gene pool or whatever, and things like that. But
stop breathing.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, it's now. I mean, I hope that you have the ability to evolve. That's what I wish for you, and it's a sad thing. It is a sad.
And by the way, don't beat up little old ladies for toilet paper.
Yeah, and don't beat up old little ladies for toilet paper either. Yeah, people are hoarding toilet paper still, or at least they're suddenly buying it. Like I mean, because the toilet paper is still being manufactured.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
so with the wife here is turning into quite the survivalist, and I can tell you more about it in a few minutes. Okay, so getting back to what I was saying earlier. Before I get into the story about my wife, it's actually pretty funny because I've been paying not more attention to social media, but I've been definitely paying attention to social media, and it really reminds me of this whole thing. If for entertaining the masses, it reminds me of a Stephen King movie between The Stand and The Mist. Now, The Stand, as you know, because there was the super flu and people were dying, much like now.
Cabin and Trips.
Of course, yes, and of course The Mist, because when all those people were trapped in the store, there was a religious cult that got started in the grocery store. And what's funny is how a lot of people are having coming to Jesus moments. Excuse me, they're asking Santa for favors, and really, it kind of makes me mad in a lot of ways. And normally I don't judge people for religion or anything like that, but like seriously, folks, you don't have to go on social media and become a prayer warrior and start praying, and all that good stuff. All you gotta do is just watch each other's sixes, and that means watch your backs and stay home and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So no coming to Jesus moments. Okay, so now.
No coming to Jesus moments?
No, not at all.
With who? What? Wait a minute, are you saying don't have coming to Jesus moments, or?
Yeah.
You mean don't set yourself up for them, or don't?
No, don't do it. Knock it off. I mean, think about this. If you were the type of person that ignored Jesus Christ, but by the way, I believe that there was a Jesus Christ, but I don't believe that he was this.
I can see him on your shirt.
Oh yeah, this is my buddy Christ.
Yeah.
Kevin Smith jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm explaining. This is sort of like the duality of man. You know what I mean? Like, think about it. In Full Metal Jacket with Private Joker, when the one of the generals came up to him when he was in Vietnam, and he's like, "Are you trying to be funny? You have like some kind of sick joke." He goes, "You kill people, but yet you have a peace sign on your helmet. Please explain it to me." He's like, "I'm just trying to point out the duality of man, sir." And he goes, "The what? The duality of man." So this is a kind of a duality type moment, because here I am preaching to you that you shouldn't have coming to Jesus moments while having, Buddy Christ, who is a representation of Jesus, on my jersey. It's the irony.
Sure, yeah. But I think when people come to Jesus, that's supposed to be a good thing, isn't it? Like,
well, yeah, but here's the thing, okay? If you're the type of person that ignored this so-called celestial being your entire life, didn't acknowledge him or anything like that, now all of a sudden there's a pandemic, and I'm pretty sure they're praying for other people, but they're praying for themselves so that they don't get sick or whatever.
Right. So are you saying don't come crying to him now? Is that what you're saying?
Right. Yeah. Right. Just don't come crying to him now.
Well,
I mean, think about
line,
this.
But okay, yeah.
No, I mean, think about this. I mean, think of all the bad crap, that was done in his name, right?
Oh well, yeah.
And now,
yeah. Sure.
And now, if you're the type of person who believes in the good Lord is basically giving us a spanking and sending us to our room saying, knock it off. What you're doing is not working. Knock it off. This is your punishment. Now you're going to stay home and think about what you did, and hopefully you learned your lesson by all of this. But with that being said, don't come crying to him now. Just stay home. It's really not that complicated.
Well, definitely don't go to church because there's a lot of because you don't want to be around other people right now who could have, especially people who. I mean, look, there are people who are getting it and they are recovering. It is not a death sentence, 100% of the time. But it is something like 10%, which is still pretty gosh darn alarming. Like I don't even know if I know 100 people, but 10 of them have probably already died from coronavirus, and it's like I mean, there are people. It's I mean, I don't know if they have because I haven't checked Facebook in like a while. By the time this, comes out, like, I don't know. There are people who, I mean, have already, I don't know. It's not my point.
I'm sorry. I'm not laughing.
There is a certain aspect of, like, I mean, look, again, it's not a monolith, but there is that monolith thing from earlier about race, also about religion. There is a certain type of Christian that cannot wait for the end of the world. And that is just truth. That is fact, rather. Truth is something else, but
this is absolutely correct of what Tyson's saying. There actually is many sects. Am I saying that right? Sects?
Sure.
Of the Christian religion.
Many different, now, and not all of them are hastily, to the detriment even of the rest of humanity, trying to get to heaven. They are just living out their lives and waiting until they die, hoping that they lived a good person. And that's, then there's many different shades. That's my thing about saying not a monolith. I'm applying that to Christians as well. And people get lumped together, But this is what I'm saying is there are people who will go to church, not hoping necessarily, but some will go hoping that they get it because they're out in public with somebody who might have it. There are ones who might get it and believe that they'll be protected by Jesus, so therefore won't get sick. There will be people who also won't get sick, even if they did come across it. There will be people who get sick and recover. There's all these different factors. But it's more likely that you will get it if you go to a place where there are other people, and there are people who are like, I'm just going to roll those dice, and without understanding, like, they could die. So it makes you wonder how much they value their life, and a large part of Christianity is not being attached to this world, and life is vanity, and Jesus is the only way to happiness. That is pretty much, I don't know what percentage, but I feel like it's over 75% of Christians. I feel like it's a pretty strong number. I feel like it's really up there. But I mean, like, there's also a lot of people who are like, well, okay, yeah, I want to see Jesus when I die, but it doesn't mean I'm going to take people with me, along the way, or help it along, or I'm not going to, if the world, I don't necessarily root for the world to end. Like, there are people who do not root for the world to end who are also Christian. That's just a fact. Yeah. There has to be, statistically. It has to exist.
There are deranged people within the Christian religion, my friend.
There's deranged people everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, but these are the extremists. So for the past 20 years, 10 years, whatever it is, since the early 90s, we're the extremists that we've been cultivated towards, accustomed to, are Muslim extremists. The war in Iraq, the second war in Iraq, the war on ISIS, the war on terrorism, and of course we're ignoring the Christian extremists. Now the Christian extremists, and I'm not going to mention any names, but there's a religious radio show with a guy who basically read the Bible on the show. Now, it was a live show, and people basically call in with Bible quotes, and then he turns his little Bible pages to the quote, and he reads it, and then he explains what it means. Mm-hmm. This man is now dead, but he also claimed that he knew the Bible so well that he knew when the world was going to end, and that was in 2010, so people sold their houses, bought RVs, and started trolling around, spreading the word of the apocalypse. And it didn't happen, and he had to go into protective custody so that they wouldn't kill him.
I remember that when this happened, yeah. Well, there have been this kind of thing has happened before in history. There was something called the Great Disappointment, and there was a similar sect, and I can't remember what the group, maybe Millerites. I think it might have been Millerites. These all came out of this one period of somebody who was like, the world is going to end. and then it didn't, and people were like, well, now what do I do? And then they broke off into different factions. And then I'm sure there were also people left over who just went home and was like, well, I'll just call it good until the end of my natural life. Everything's, hey, who knows now? It's, it's a crapshoot. Enjoy life.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Is this a scary time? Yes, it absolutely is. Should you take this serious? Of course you should. But, as long as you do the right thing, the sun is not going to, go nova. It's not going to fall out of the sky. The moon's not going to go dim forever. This is not a permanent thing if you just do what it is you're supposed to do. That's what people don't understand. Seriously, take my job, and I'm not going to go into specifics of what it is, but the majority of my clients are senior gated communities. So now, with that being said, I visit these communities to check on my employees to make sure that my employees are safe, and I give them what they need. And, what they've been requiring lately is, of course, hand sanitizer, Clorox wipes, and, of course, cleaning chemicals to make sure that the gates, the specific places are sanitized. Now, with these gated communities, these elderly people are having visitors. Okay, here's the thing. If they're essential, like, nurses, aides, doctors, okay, deliveries, your kids dropping off food to them, that's fine. But to have a nonsensical visit right now is ridiculous.
Non-essential.
To have a non-essential visit is nonsensical.
Correct.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page. We're just, we're telling you.
It's like this.
I can't. It's so frustrating to me that these shows come out so far into the future. Because it's really hard to know whether or not to bump it up with the rotation and do like a half show instead, because it's like I've already talked about, it's already a recorded thing that I've talked about how far in the future it's going to be. And then if I do actually decide to bump it up, I either have to remove all reference to it being, or leave it as it is and provide some kind of explanation. And, these are all solvable problems. This is not it's, the frustration is because is the idea that the insane notion that there might be one person out there who hears this in 4 months or 6 months and is like, well, I'm glad somebody finally told me the right thing to do, and I had to hear it on this podcast that I would have heard 6 months previously, and maybe I wouldn't have, all this bad stuff wouldn't have. Like, one person could have got the information that and that was the way they got it, rather than through MSNBC or CNN or Fox News or The Hill or the Young Turks or any other way that a person can get reliable. Fox you can't get reliable news from. Obviously there is some, but the opinion host, that's a whole other thing. Fox is a fantasy, but there is real stuff on there. That's what makes it confusing. And by the way, CNN also has lied and lies, or they're biased, and MSNBC does lie or has lied and is biased. But there's also good information. It's some in there, not a Fox. Maybe this is the thing. I don't watch Fox because the clips that I do see that come out of Fox are largely BS and hate mongering and fear mongering, and that's messed up. But I do watch the Young Turks, and they seem to put things in context. And when they do things right on Fox, if somebody is honest over there, they will point it out. But for the most part, they're not, and they also point that out. And they point out when people on MSNBC are dishonest, and when CNN is when they can find it. Like they're progressives, is what they are. And I have been listening to clips of theirs for the last year now, and I don't want to say it's politicized me or militarized my politicization. It certainly isn't militarized, but it's. I certainly didn't care as much about politics before before the last. Let's see, when did I start caring about politics this much? Let's see, I did when I was a kid, and then I stopped, and then I really started somewhere in 2016. I think around November. That's when I started paying attention, because
that's when I
what the actual fuck.
Well, I've been paying attention to politics for a long time, but it was never a hobby. It was just to basically stay informed. Politics didn't become a hobby of mine, so to speak, until, again, November 2016. Even before that, when certain people were running for office. Anyway, But all those platforms that you just mentioned are basically political based. That's all they do. They talk about politics. This show, mind you, doesn't even talk about politics.
Not usually.
Not usual.
We've certainly talked a lot about politics in the world and religion and a whole bunch of things we never talk about on this show. Basically, or we never talk about it to the degree that we have talked about it.
Well, no, because if you think about it, these are not normal times, and this is definitely not a normal anti-social show. But
no,
I really think, a lot of other shows that would normally never talk about politics or nothing like that have been making references toward it, and also, of course, doing their part to relay the message of staying home, keeping everything sanitized.
Yeah, all that. Yeah.
So they're doing their part as well. So I figured we should do our part because we care about our listeners and they need to stay not only entertained but informed as well.
I mean, if this is where they get their news from, I'm sorry, because there are better places. But and still, again, thank you for listening.
Obviously, there's better places to get their news from, bro, than us.
Yeah, for example, you'd probably watch The Young Turks and also watch The Damage Report with John Iadarola and watch Rebel HQ with Emma Vigland and, that whole circle, you'll see that there's a pretty well-balanced series of facts and fact-checking and fact-finding and fact-reporting that you don't find in the, and I'm using finger quotes, people, because it's something that people say a lot, but I never really understood before until I saw it in context as alongside everything else. Mainstream media. You hear people talk about mainstream media and how it's, and it's like you hear a lot of it from the conservative side, and coming down on it, but it's also, of course, actually the conservative side calls it the liberal media. But the idea of the mainstream media, it's the idea that they will. I don't want to get into it right now, but I kind of understand now why people talk about it. But there's people talk about it for different reasons. I'm sure that Alex Jones talks about it for a completely different reason. It's the mainstream media, they won't tell you the facts about what's going on. The frogs are freaking gay. The whole bit that are gay freaking frogs, like that guy. And that was a remix, and it was really funny. But no, just because an insane person uses the term doesn't mean that it's an invalid way of assessing an idea of something, and that's what the quote unquote mainstream media is. They leave stuff out, is the point, and a lot of them are biased. But there's also a lot of good information, and it's difficult to sift through, and that's one of the reasons why I like the independent media units, like the Young Turks, the progressives specifically, the people who are supportive of people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and the quartet, the squad. What are they called? Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar, and I can't remember the other person's name. I'm so sorry. And Bernie Sanders, progressives. These people.
Well, the thing about mainstream media is that I do pay attention to it. So that I obviously am informed. And by the way, once you reach the age of 18, I don't care how childish you are. I don't care, if you're, a dude that's our ages that play video games. That's cool too. But at the end of so whether you're 18 years old or, let's say 39, and I'm 39 now, so anywhere in between that. And Tyson, how old are you?
I am 46.
Yes. So, or between 39 and 46, you should be paying attention to politics because this will affect you as an adult.
And it will affect your children. Correct.
So now, with that being said, though, and I'm just giving my honest opinion, mainstream, the news medias are boring. It's like mainstream porn. It's boring. But I still pay attention to it to some degree.
Mainstream porn?
Yeah, I can't watch mainstream porn because it to me is boring. Same thing like mainstream, the news media. I mean, I can't sit there and, watch it over and over and over and over and over again throughout the day because it's just repetitive. I can't sit there and read a newspaper, from cover to cover, I'm only going to pick out the important articles and then call it a day.
Well, all porn is repetitive.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of... People go to it for a particular series of events to occur. And it, with an assured repetition. You know. It is a repetitive process. Anyway.
You know, and also, too, think about this, okay? We live in the dawn of the future. This is the dawn of the future. This is the 21st century.
Right,
it's not like...
Right now is always the dawn of the future.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm basically speaking from a technological,
tech talk
standpoint. Yeah, because think about this. Our technology is advancing more and more every single day on things that we can do. I wouldn't be surprised in the next 50 years, we discover somehow that my theory is correct, that you can use dark matter energy rather, to use it as a way to go faster than the speed of light. And of course, I'm sure there's other going to be other issues when you're traveling at the speed of light, but I'm sure they'll fix that. So, with that being said, technology is ridiculous right now. Imagine what this would be like back in like 1982 or 83 or something like that.
What? A plague?
Yeah, like what's going on now? Like, because with technology, there's ways to communicate with people. It's not like it was back in like 1986.
Right, yeah, no, you're right. No, I was sorry. I was thinking about 1982 and like technology and how news was spread and whatnot, and it just made me think of AIDS again, because it's like, like I said to you earlier, not just in the program, but like I was on a message, I was saying how like this is basically air HIV in the sense that it is a thing that is a virus. It is very contagious. HIV it's kind of specifically transmitted through blood or, fluid and whatnot. We know how it is now, but in early part, we didn't know how people were getting it. There were people who thought you could get HIV from sharing a coffee mug with somebody, or, there's the casual ways. There was this hysteria about it. And the kind of hysteria that there should be about what's happening now, because you can actually get this much easier than you could get HIV. And even though there's not not everybody will go full-blown AIDS, like there are many people who've been living for many years with HIV, for example, like Magic Johnson, who has been in the news a bit lately. But like once you go full-blown, that is like the worst-case scenario of the coronavirus infecting as many cells as it can until your body cannot support the changes that those cells have made, and then you will die. There's pretty much no repairing that.
Well, think about this, dude.
People got to be careful.
When the AIDS epidemic first hit the United States, there was, yes, a mass hysteria, but did anything shut down?
Well, no, because people got it through f***ing.
Exactly.
So all they had to do was be careful when they f*** each other. They didn't. It wasn't like they going around and it wasn't like you could get it from coughing on somebody.
Right, but
unless
now
you
here's
coughed
the thing.
into an open wound and you had blood in your mouth already, and your blood mixed with their blood, then they can get it. But
here's the thing. There's really not that type of mass hysteria going on right now when there's people that are denying the fact that this is happening right now.
Like Trump was for months.
Yes,
Trump was denying it was happening in January when it was happening, and these are facts, people, by the way. This is not just something that our news is telling us. These are things that happened. We've watched the clips of him downplaying the possibility of this being a really bad thing. And like saying,
Fox.
Giving bad information basically to the rest of people, which he's still doing. He's still giving this information, and it's maddening. And by the way, I mean still as of April 12th and now 13th for Hunter. Actually, it started off being April 13th because we have this time difference that some of you might know of, but those of you don't, we've got a 3-hour time difference between us. You know what? I think I'm just going to turn these friggin' things around because it doesn't matter what I hear. This is the actual incorrect. I'm wearing my headphones backwards now, but what it does is it puts the cord away from me,
And it doesn't matter if I hear this, because I'm going to wear them the other way when I listen to sound in stereo. Like, these ears are literally flipped, and it does not matter that I kept them the wrong way or the right way on this entire time. I could have saved myself a lot of agita. But anyway, and I don't even use the term agita.
No, you don't.
Oh, I just did. Anyway.
Dude, I use it.
I'm so tired of the people downplaying it, of the people who are not taking it seriously. I'm done with them. And by the way, I keep saying I am, and this is who knows how far in the future, as I keep saying. Who knows how far in the future? When I do name this one, I'm probably just going to call it A Serious Show, because I want people to know what they get into before they click. I don't want to surprise them by thinking they're going to come and find the normal BS that we do. You know, because this is a no BSing matter, you know. It is.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah. Anyway,
that's why we made the decision to do this, show, which is again going to be slightly smaller than the normal show that we put out, but that's okay because this for the first time I feel we've done, what is it, 3 years and 6 months. October will be our 4th year doing this, and God willing, we'll do more years to come. But right now we're already at
3.5 years.
We're already at like 80. How many episodes now?
Don't ask. You mean right now, as of April 12th or April 13th?
Right. Posted.
Posted as 80. No, sorry.
Okay. So,
no, sorry, that's not right. It's actually 83 episodes. We're at episode number 80, but we have episodes that are half episodes and episodes that are two-parters. So technically, that's one of the reasons why it's so difficult. That's why when we get to episode 94 or 5, and it's actually our 100th episode, I'm going to call that one the 100th episode as a joke. Yeah.
Yes.
Because it will be the literal 100th episode. But it won't be the number 100. So
imagine that this show is going to make its 100th episode, and that's going to be, so number 94 is going to be the magical number, and I think I'm going to have 94 put on a T-shirt.
Oh, wait, no, yeah, but don't until we know that's what it is. It's either 93 or 94. I don't know that. It's like, this is the thing, is that we keep recording new ones, and I don't know if they're going to go between the show, and that changes the number, because if there's a 0.5, then that makes it closer to 100 without it actually being. So for every one we do, I don't know if this is going to be 88 or if this is going to be 81.5, and then some other one that gets recording. It's like, I don't know right now. I do not know. And I'm running out of space on in my storage, so I need to.
I promise this is going to be the last one we do until all the rest of the ones are up.
I want to do more, but I need to edit, and I need to finish Succotash. I need to get that done, and then I can start buckling down on editing the shows, then getting them up with a greater degree of frequency, so that maybe even once a week, if I can get it far enough ahead of this, at least until they're gone and we're back to the cycle of doing one and then putting one out every 2 weeks, because I have time to edit the one that we just recorded. So, we'll see. But that's a tall order at this stage. So.
Okay, so magic number 94 will not be put on a T-shirt.
Not unless it actually is. I'll work out whether it's 94 or not. We'll know what it is when it happens. And when it happens, then we can do our T-shirt. And then, our 3 people who are religious listeners of the show will get a kick out of that T-shirt. So.
Well, I mean, it's better than my theory of having just 2 crackheads in a crack den.
Yeah, it's one
listening
better
to us.
It's one person plus those 2 crackheads. That's right. Yeah. I never tend to agree with you when you say the 2 crackheads in a crack den. I just let you say that and then move on to something else. So I didn't, I didn't want my silence to imply consent. So
Yes,
I appreciate every single person who listens.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Why?
I do as well.
Why they do, I will never know, because they don't really tell us. But I do appreciate it. So.
Hey, listen, this is a superior show. It gets better and better. But, but seriously, though, out of all the episodes that we do have, my point is that each episode obviously is unique and different, of course. We had some, really dark episodes. We've had some really uplifting, funny episodes. We've had just episodes talking about movies, whatever the hell. So if we never do a serious episode ever again, at least there's one there.
It's a good point. I'll buy that for $1.
it's almost like this one episode will be like the black sheep of the family. And I'm even going to go further than that. I bet that this one episode will have a high volume of listeners listening to it.
Maybe. We'll never know. Because we'll be dead by then. But we'll see.
We'll be dead by then.
No, yeah, maybe we'll see. It's an interest. I'd like to say yeah, but I understand it's a prediction, and I don't even know how to connect dots at this point to go. I could see that because it's literally, to me, it's 50-50. Flip a coin. What you said could be right. It could not be right by the time this happens. I have lost all certainty in life, except for a few things.
Absolutely. So no, I just, we have a lot of episodes recorded, and normally I wouldn't push. I mean, of course, I'm never going to turn down doing an episode of Anti-Social Show, obviously, because when I really think about how the show first started, all the process, all the steps that it took for us to get to this exact moment, like, me studying, of course, how to do a podcast for 6 months where we did no podcast, to, the many degrees of equipment that I went through, the different funny things that happened, like, the white noise and the constant freezings and the, whatever else. And right now to this point, this show is awesome. So, and ordinarily I wouldn't push for, to do another episode if we already had so much stuff in the can to begin with. But I figured since this is not normal times, these aren't normal circumstances.
Right. Yeah, and I'm not angry or cross. I'm just putting it in perspective for anybody who cares to listen, and for anybody who wouldn't already know this stuff.
Oh, and please continue to listen.
Yes.
Because there'll be plenty of episodes to come, so,
Well, that's about all the time we have. For Anti-Social Show, I'm Tyson Sainer.
And I am Hunter Block.
Be decent to each other.
Absolutely. Stay safe and peace.
Peace.
Have a good time.